now I can leave the floor to Bettina Piqueras-Fitzman, who will introduce the webinar on behalf of the E3S board.
Yeah, well, thank you everybody for being here, and good afternoon. So today we have an exciting program where we have three societies. So we have the French Society, the Finnish, and the Danish. So they will be presenting in that order, and the idea is that they again present what they're doing, what activities they do, how they organize themselves. So basically, a little bit however they want to present their societies. Each presentation is roughly 15 minutes, and if there's any burning questions from the audience and there's time for it between the sessions, we can squeeze in some question, and if not, they will go at the end. Yeah. Also, if things get a bit delayed, we will use the time for the discussion at the end, and we hope to finish this webinar at 5 p.m. Okay, so then I'm going to start presenting the first society, the Société Française d'Analyse Sensorielle, the French Society. And for this, we have Agnès Giboreau and Sébastien Le. So the floor is yours, and you can share your presentation.
Can you see the screen? Yeah?
Yeah, we see your screen. It's not in presentation mode yet.
Let's do this. Sorry. Just start again. Just to make it the right format. Okay. Is it better this way?
It's still not, but it's also fine if you want to present it like this, and otherwise Sébastien also has it. So whatever you both prefer.
Well, I can try just to make it the right way.
This technical issues. Let's see.
How is it? Still the same?
Yes, but if you want, you can present like this, and yes, or Sébastien also has it, and he was able to put it in presentation mode. So, what do you prefer?
Okay, Sébastien, so you can.
Okay, Sébastien takes over.
I'm sorry. You have trouble with these double screens.
So I don't know if Sébastien, you can share your screen. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
And Sébastien, you're in mute. I don't know exactly if you're saying something.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you just say pass if you want me to pass. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Sorry for this technical issue. So we are very pleased with Sébastien to be with you today to present the SFAS group, Société Française d'Analyse Sensorielle, French Society of Sensory Science. Yes, next slide, please. We created the French group in 2008. Actually, it was about when we came back from the Pangborn in the States, where they announced the creation of the Sensory Professional Society in the States, and together with French colleagues, among them Catherine Dacremont, we said, well, we should have one society in France too, as we have been training a lot of professionals for many years in different universities, and we have some professionals in sensory evaluation active in different countries, and we gathered the network of sensory professionals, and all together we said, yes, let's go to this French society. also inspired by the others active in Europe, as you know. So we are today 173 members, and we have a board of administrators composed of 13 members. Actually, we have 12 members from the different groups, as we will see later on, and also a community manager. We, along the years, we defined different working groups to share the collective spirit of the groups that we aimed at being the core of the activity of this non-profit group. And the philosophy is also to have a board of administration that evolves every 3 years. So every year we have 1/4 of the board members that are renewed with election to be in line with the evolution of the way the professions evolve, as well as the needs in the industry and the programs in the university. So it's a really dynamic group, I would say. We organize 2 events per year. The idea is to allow the development of the network and the introduction of the younger and the older members, and I think this is really appreciated by all the members. And we have 1 PhD award per year. Next, please. So our main role is to connect all the stakeholders of sensory and consumer science in France. And so the first one is getting to know other members from different communities, but also to share information about what happens in the field, nationally and internationally. And we aim as well as to develop some toolbox and practices and how the sensory and consumer scientists work in the different type of companies. And of course, in relation to events and networking, and help for hiring and finding a job for the young girls. I mean, those people who are looking for a new position. Yes. So we have a diversity of public, and these are our 4 groups composing as well the board of administrators. So academics, industry, market research or market agencies, and just graduated or students. Next one. We have an active communication support with our own website, as well as a specific group on LinkedIn and a Facebook page. Yes. And we organize our activity in 7 working groups: communication, event organization, method, edition, international relations. So this group is made of the 2 of us, Sébastien and I, trying to be the spokesperson to get into contact at the international level, ethics and legals, and methods for products other than food. And I leave the floor to Sébastien to give some examples of the activities.
Okay, thank you, Agnès. So here are some examples that Agnès has already mentioned. As she said, we have 1 PhD award per year, and the main thing is that the committee is only composed of people from the industry and people from the agencies. Okay, so there's no academic people for this committee. This is really important to mention. As you can see, we have here 3 examples of the last people who received that PhD award. So Margot was really based on collecting data and analyzing them statistically. Adriana was really based on context and collecting data, so it can be really methodological or more statistical. And Benjamin, for his last year, was really focused about how to analyze free comments data. We have also a common project among the members. So here, Voca Conso is a project whose objective were to develop a methodology for evaluating sensory terms for claims relevance using some kind of a confidence index based on components. Here, it was appropriateness, understanding, and balance. And the main thing about this project was it was a project that integrated industrial people such as Decathlon, Babolab for the non-food part, and then Clarins and Lexicon for the cosmetic part, and also Bonduel for the food part. So it was really some kind of collaborative project, and that was really interesting. For the working group edition, so this is an example of what the working group edition is doing. So in 2020, 2019, and 2018, they have published a booklet, and it's not only a booklet, it's a like 30 pages book on different methodologies, as you can see. And 2020 was the last release of the booklet about the use of just about right scales. And these kind of booklets, 30 pages books, are for our members. So they can use them. And it's also collaborative booklets made with industrial people and academic people. So that's the nice thing about these booklets, because they help exchanging the knowledge and so on. As Anya said, we have 2 events per year. And I would say that during that day, we have a workshop based on a particular topic. As you can see here, 2021 was testing out of the lab because of the pandemic. And then 2020 was about qualitative sensory studies. 2019 was on paired comparison studies, paired comparison tests, and so on. 2019 was on sensory claims. So we focus on one topic that we decide about the topic, then we try to find the people that are able to talk about the topic, and then we have that event. These events are recorded, and the members can have an access of the workshops that have been recorded, and that's it. And finally, so that's a job which is done by the working group communication. And for the non-food working group, this is an example of the kind of work that we're doing. So there's a collective book about non-food sensory practices. And the chapters are dealing with sensory evaluation of sounds, of textiles, of different materials, of cars, of cosmetic products, and even of drugs and flowers. So that's about it, about the kind of work that we're doing. And as you can see, we try to be as, I would say, collaborative as possible, and to integrate at the same time industrial people and academic people. And that's one of the strengths of the our sensory society. So thank you for listening to the presentation.
Thanks, Agnes and Sebastian, for keeping perfect timing.
Yeah.
Do we have any burning questions from the attendees for Sebastian or Agnes? Right now, I don't see the chat. If not, that's also good. I have a very quick question regarding the common project. Who comes up with this idea? Perhaps you hinted at it, but perhaps you can explain a bit more about the common project. Yeah, it's every year changing, or
no? That was our first. That was a first try about the common project. Yeah, and so we hired a student from our campus, and then a group of industrial people from the non-food field and from the food field decided that, because we had a workshop, actually we had a workshop on claims in 2018, and then free comments and all those kind of things are kind of trendy this time, and then we decided to work on how vocabulary could be understood by consumers. But this is really the first time, and I think it was quite a success, and we want to do the same thing for the next years.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's very impressive. Okay, so then we can move on to the next society. Thanks a lot again, Agnes and Sebastian. And the next society presenting will be the Finnish Society of Food Science and Technology. And for that, we have Mari Sendel and Teri Pohanheimo to present. And here we have their slides, so that's great. Okay, so then the floor is yours. You're on mute, Mari.
Sorry. I
That's
thought
great.
that I opened it, but no. Okay. I will go back to the slide mode. So a lot of greetings from Finland. We are actually having very nice winter week and -20 degrees. So greetings from the north and North Europe. And just to remind you that we really are in the northern part of Finland, and we just had yesterday the Independence Day, so it was a very important day for Finland, 104th birthday. And I'm very proud to tell you about our Finnish activities. So we are member of the Finnish Society of Food Science and Technology, and in Finnish it's called Elintarviketieteiden seura, for your information if you want to practice it, the Finnish language. And our sensory science division, it was established almost 40 years ago. In Finnish, we call it aistinvaraisen tutkimuksen jaosto, and in English, it's Sensory Science Division of this Finnish Society of Food Science and Technology. And you can see here our previous chairs. So, of course, you can understand that during the 40 years, there have been many people involved and organizing the things, because our division is also, it has been and it's still very active. So we have had several chairs so far, and you maybe recognize very many names here, like Hely Tuorila was a chair in the beginning of 90s. Then Liisa Lähteenmäki, nowadays in Aarhus. Then Terhi and me. I was actually the first time the chair 20 years ago, and now since 2020 I have been chair again. So it's very nice to be here today with Terhi, and I think that from our members we do have several of Finnish members also following this webinar. So greetings from all of us. And E3S, almost like E3S, but E3S, like the Finnish Society of Food Science and Technology, it was established 1947, so it's already quite old society as well. And nowadays there are 9 divisions within the society, and our sensory science division is the biggest one. We do have more than 400 person members, and this means that we are like person members. We are paying our annual fee. We do have different fees for students, and then fees for people that are professionals, and most of us are working somehow, for example, either in food industry or then working in academic, but you can understand that there are very different kind of people in 416, which was the number of the members in the end of last year, and at the moment it's a little bit higher. We do have almost 40 or 30 companies that are also our supporting business members, and they are also paying annual fee for the E3S. But what's important that we do have a natural network, so it's very easy to, for example, organize different kind of events together with the companies, and most of, in addition to company members, we do have also professionals from different companies that are our person members. So we do have very nice network, and as you maybe know that in Finland we do have around 5 million people, 5 million citizens, and 400 of those people are members of the sensory science division, we do have very nice network, and it's pretty easy to collaborate with friends that are interested in same kind of things. Hely Tuorila, our Emerita Professor of Sensory Food Science, has been the honorary member since 2007. And we do have, it was very, very good to hear the activities from France. And in Finland, we do have also national activities, and I'm now explaining a few of those, and then Terhi is continuing. I may be talking more about this serious thing, like sharing the knowledge, and we do have also annual seminars for members, and the same way like in France, our board, our National Society board is putting ideas together and thinking about the theme of the annual seminar. And then we are collecting people who are interested in come and talk about the topic that is like part of the team. And you can see here the examples that we have had very different kind of spring and winter seminars so far, very different, with very different type of titles. And usually the annual seminars are in the beginning of the year. Like this year we had the corona webinar. It was in February, and then in the fall part or the end part of the year, we do have other kind of activities and get together activities. In addition to seminars, we are organizing excursions and visits, mainly, for example, to different kind of companies who are willing to show, for example, the facilities, maybe willing to engage us as participants in different kind of activities, like the chocolate tasting or something boring things, which are very, very, very great thing. And then the E3S, the Finnish Society of Food Science and Technology, is publishing Finnish food science magazine, which is really for professionals, and this is very, very good. It's published 6 times per year, and the content of the journal or the magazine, it's very good. So we do have a nice group of people who is also making plans that what are the different kind of topics for each magazine annually. And then most of our members are also writing articles for this one. This is unfortunately the magazine itself. It is in Finnish, but it's very easy to find it also from the website. And for our members, it's easy to see it and read it, and it's very high quality, and it's pretty old nowadays. Also, this magazine. Then these are examples of the national activities that how we support, for example, young sensory scientists who wants to become more professional in the field. We do have also different awards, mainly for the master students. But in case of the E3S, we do have this PhD award, where all the divisions may propose. And also the members may propose candidates to awards. But we do have our own master student award, and then we have in Finnish we have a textbook that works very nicely, for example, in university studies, or like the different kind of studies, for example, the Polytechnic and Applied Science schools. And the first edition was published 2005. We do have now, the present edition is from 2016. And the editors were Hely Tuorila and Ulla Appelby. But we had several authors that have actually participated and being involved in this textbook. And Hely and Ulla, they decided already in the beginning that all the royalties from Finnish sensory food science textbook, they are given to our scholarship fund. So they are supporting this way our fund as well. And during the Corona time now, we have started the networking events where it's possible for our student members to meet so-called senior members, meaning that those people who are professional in, for example, in food industry companies, for example, in academy, and these events, also these virtual events, they have been pretty popular, and these kind of networking, they are very important, how we're trying to support the young sensory scientists. And then one activity before Terhi continues is the sensory lexicon, and this is something that the first terminology, really like for professionals, opening the terms. It was published 50 years ago, and then the second version, it was published 10 years later. And at the moment, we are preparing the fifth version. It's coming soon. Now it's prepared and designed and also really processed by our board. So this is something that think about. The first one was published 50 years ago in Finnish and in Finland. Terhi, go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Mari. So we have recognized in Finland that it's very important to balance the hard science and work also with fun activities. So that's why we arrange also this kind of fun events and activities for our members. So many times these activities involve eating in some kind of form. They also can involve kind of sensory training. So there are pictures from wine tasting or chocolate tasting. So they are many times guided by professionals. So it's kind of connecting the science and then the fun. But the main thing is to meet people, get social, and also get share common memories to the people. So. And this year, December, we also arranged one kind of special event, and we went to the Opera of Helsinki. So it was truly a great multisensory experience to share with the sensory division members. Yes. And as you heard from Mari, that the Finnish Sensory Society and Sensory Division has a very long history. So there are also many important activities in the past. So the Finnish Society or the active members of the Finnish Sensory Society and Finnish Division have been arranging the first sensory science symposium in Finland already in 1968, and in that event there were very important keynote speakers, Rosemary Pangborn and Angela Little and Alina Czesniak. And already at that time there was 200 participants interested in sensory. And the Finnish Sensory Science Division has been also a member of E3S already from the beginning. And as a very important history part of the Finnish society is that the first Pambong Memorial Sensory Science Symposium was arranged in Finland, in Järvenpää, in 1992. And we would like to share some pictures from the first Pangborn. And as you can see that without the modern technology, the conference looked a little bit different than nowadays the conferences look like. The poster presentations are little bit different than nowadays, but still the same feeling and sharing nice memories with the people is the important. And the sensory families is growing. Perhaps you recognize some familiar faces. But yeah, international activities belong to our current activities also very, very closely. And we are so proud to host the Eurosense in Turku in next September. So that keeps us quite busy this time and this year and next year, planning the great Create Your Sense Symposium. So the location will be Turku, and the theme will be A Sense of Earth. And we are very, very excited to offer you inspiring talks about the themes sustainability, food tech and health, food terroirs, so different kind of areas of how to produce food and how they are different in sensory quality. Then also the cross-cultural research, how different people in different parts of the globe have different kind of perceptions and likings, how citizens are involved in research, and of course also multisensory perception. We have already got some first abstracts in our system, but there is still time, so I hope that you all will be also sending your abstract, and hope we will meet all you here in Turku in Finland. And yes, our active board, so we have eight members in the sensory science division. So Mari is the chair this year, and I'm helping as a vice, and then there are Laila and Jutta and Anttia, Elina, Sulo and Nora, who are also active and planning our events and activities. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that presentation. I was, of course, we all look forward to going to Turku very soon. Do we have any questions for the Finnish Society from the audience? Let me see. And if not, we can...
Yes.
we do? I don't...
Yeah.
Agnes has her... Sorry, I'm not very good at identifying the icons. Yeah, Agnes?
And Paula as well. Yeah, I have a question for you about the lexicon in Finnish, because we tried to do so as I knew what you did in Italy, Arminio, and so I didn't know you also did this in Finland, but we had some difficulties in France to get companies to share their lexicon. So I would like to know how you managed to get those lexicons, because I'm convinced it's a very useful tool.
Well, our lexicon, it includes also the not like any secret terms. It's more like that what is sensory evaluation, or what is like chemesthesis, or what is like flavor and how they are translated. And then there is also explanation that what is the meaning of the terminology. I think that, I don't know, we haven't had any problems. People are very active, and of course it takes a lot of time and nerves, so we must be very patient, and it also takes time. So maybe that's now the thing that has been quite challenging. And then, but Terhi, we haven't had any problems. What do you think?
Yeah, no problems, but yeah, actually the lexicon doesn't involve any like particle products, so we don't have any like
Okay.
or like breads or that kind of products. So it's more like the methods and tools and that kind of.
Thank you.
Now, Paula, perhaps any other questions? We can leave them for the discussion at the end.
Yeah, I was wondering very short, you mentioned the networking of young and senior researchers in your network. If you could say a bit more, what do you do with these young researchers to get them close to senior ones?
Well, for example, those excursions and those trips that we may have, even the bus trip, or then depending on where we are going, or then like we are meeting people and trying to also encourage people to discuss and really network. But this year we have really like facilitated and moderated these kind of events, which has been now possible due to the corona, and for example in teams and in small groups, and based on the feedback, people have been pretty happy. Of course it's only short time, but still it's possible to meet new people and hear that what is going on, what people are doing, for example in industry, and what kind of work what kind of their daily life practices are, and of course that's something that we would like to develop in the future as well, because it's very, very important.
Okay, well, thank you very much again for that presentation, and I'm glad to see the Phantom of the Opera. It's my favorite story and musical. Okay, and then we go to the third and final societies, the Danish Sensory Society, and for that we have Grete Haldig and Barbara Bad Andersen with us. So yeah, the floor is yours. You can share your screen, your slides. Yep.
Yes, I will do that. Just a minute, I hope. Can you see the presentation now?
Yep, it's in presentation mode. Yeah, that's good.
Good. So, and I will give the word to you, Barbara. So, and please, I cannot see you, so please say when you need me to go to the next.
Yes, first, a warm welcome on behalf of the Danish Sensory Society. In Danish, it's called Dansk Sensorikselskab. And I think you can more or less see where we got the color from. So just a picture of Denmark, so you all know where we are located. And I think, Grete, you can move to the next slide, and then it's actually back to you to present a bit of the history.
Yes. Yeah, in Denmark, we also have had an unofficial sensory groups for many years, more than 30 years, but it has been unofficial, so it has just worked when people had some topics they were gathering and discussed it. But then we became also a part of Levnedsmiddelselskabet in Danish, which is the food science society. And in 2010, we officially became a society with a document, and we were also a part of the first event in creating the E3S, and it was really a very nice event, and I have here some pictures of it. So we have been working with sensory and in groups for many years in Denmark. Our Danish Sensory Society is organized in this EDA food science. So, and this is a very large society working not only with sensory but all kinds of food, and there is 2,500 members, and a lot of industry partners is involved there. So and actually both Barbara and I are sitting in the board of this society, so we have large influence on the topic which are taking up and which event is being made in this society. And of course we are pushing for the sensory part, so also the Danish Sensory Society has the opportunity to go out through this society and make events. So Barbara, I think it's your turn now.
Yeah, so zooming in on the D2S, as we call ourselves, the Danish Sensory Society, these are the members of the board. And as you probably can see, it's a combination of academic staff and staff from the university. And we actually appreciate this because it also reflects our members, primarily dominated by academia in the board though. We also have 2 student representatives, and they are also linked to the E3S, what is it called now? Emerging Researchers Group. I can't remember. The name has changed several times, but something like that. Yeah, so Grete, you can switch to the next slide, please. So who are our members? Well, they are from industry, they are from universities and university colleges, and we have around 100 members on our email list. So in Denmark, it's free to join our sensory society, and we don't really have like an official list of members, but it is everyone working with sensory science or sensory in more applicable terms across Denmark. So either from a research perspective or as part of their business. And we have this email list that we use. And they come from all over Denmark, basically. So the next slide, please. Yes. And then we also have a LinkedIn group. And here we have around 200 members. And the group is primarily administered by our student representatives. They post like every month a post of the month where they highlight, for instance, PhD student projects. That is also where we send out invitation to our meetings. It's where we present different highlights. And that was also where I, for instance, for this invitation for today, was posted on this LinkedIn group. And I've just included some screenshots so you can kind of, maybe it's too small for you to see, but one on the left is like a PhD student project. And in the middle, it's a poster from a conference, and we have our invitation to a D2S meeting on the right. So Grete, the next slide. Yes, so the meeting structure, we have, of course, board meetings, and then we have meetings for our members, and we also have PhD seminars. And we have 4 board meetings per year, where one is including our student representatives. And the meetings for our memberships takes place twice per year. One in the spring is focused on applied sensory. It's hosted by a Danish company, and the language spoken at that meeting is Danish. And then we have a fall meeting, which is focusing more on scientific and research related sensory. And the host is at a university, and here the spoken language is English. Yes. And then we have our PhD seminar, which aims to take place every second year. So if we zoom in on the board meetings, yes, we meet 4 times per year. And there is an overall agenda which is about planning the next meeting for our members. And then we have some specific focus area depending on the time of year. For instance, during the spring, that is where we bring the minutes from the E3S meetings. That is also where we reflect on what arrangements should we propose to the EDA network, as Grete explained just a minute ago. During the summer, that is where we have our student reps involved, and where they also bring information from E3S, but also from national events that they have been to. And then during the fall, we have a special focus on what has been said in this EDA food network. And so there's a communication constantly back and forth between the two networks. Yes, Grete, the next slide. So the agenda for the meetings that we have for our members, well, we also always follow this kind of the same structure, where we first of all just do a quick round the table where we introduce who is actually at the meeting. Then there is always a part of the meeting where the host present what kind of sensory science is conducted at the host, what topics are they focusing on at the moment. And then we have presentations on a predefined topic. We lunch together, and then we have more involving sessions, workshops around the same topic where the audience kind of get activated a bit after lunch. And then we always include a tour to the sensory facilities of the host. During these meetings, there's a huge focus on networking, talking together, sharing experiences. As I said, it's free for all our members to join these meetings, so the costs are covered by the host. Yeah, next slide. And just to zoom in a bit on what topics do we have. If we focus on the more applied meetings, we have zoomed in on quality control, something about serving materials, so what jars, where do you buy them, and so on. There has been a focus on product development, this whole concept of design thinking and using sensory panels in that regard. References we have also had a focus on. And the next meeting is to take place in April, and here we aim to focus on panel training and exercises around panel check, and maybe using and training some methods that are not necessarily applied the most out in practice. Yeah, the next slide. Fall meetings, that is where we focus on research and more scientific approach. And some of the topics we have had there have been about intrinsic, extrinsic product-related factors. It has been, more or less research projects at the universities. We've also had a focus on sensory profiling, virtual reality, 3D printing. We also had ones where we kind of built on what was presented at some conference. I can't remember whether that was Eurosense or Pangborn, but what people in general found was highlighted the most during this conference. We also had a focus on testing with children, gamification, and recently a focus on cross-cultural sensory studies. Yeah, and we've just had a meeting in November this year, where you can see one of the pictures here on the right. So the next slide, please. During COVID, we could, of course, not meet in person or physically, so we decided to convert it into online meetings. And here the topic was very naturally on how to conduct sensory during times of COVID. So that we focused on there and shared experiences. The next slide. A relatively new initiative is on PhD seminars. It has been conducted once, and that was in, what was that in, I think it was in 18.
Yes.
Yeah, where it was planned by E3S and also this EDA Food Science Network, which Grete talked about. It's a whole day, including dinner, where we bring together academia and industry, and we try to really promote PhD projects conducted within sensory and consumer science in Denmark. So we try to create a network for our PhD students, and they can share their research findings. And for the meeting we had in 18, we had two keynotes. We had Grete from D2S, and we also had Sarah Spinelli, who participated and gave a presentation. And the format was presentation, but also these more involving sessions where our audience got more hands-on and were active. And before lunch, it focused on the product, and after lunch on the consumer. And we aim to have the meeting again this year, but got prevented by COVID. So we expect to conduct it in the spring next year, or in 22 instead. Yeah, back to you.
Yes, and just to give also some examples of some of the cooperation we have had across the sensory environment in Denmark. We conduct some proficiency tests across the sensory labs in Denmark because it's for many companies, it's also very important to have these proficiency tests. And at one time, we actually made a poster of the results we had from these proficiency tests. So this is a activity that we have done across the sensory labs. And then we also we have made some proposals for some projects. And as many of you probably know, it's not easy to get funding for sensory project, but we got one, Sensewell, and it was called Sensory Food Satisfaction in Promoting Healthy and Sustainable Eating Behavior. and it was a very great project with 3 PhD and 6 postdocs involved. And Barbara's PhD was a major contribution and a major outcome of this project. We also had the honor of holding the Eurosense 2014 in Copenhagen, and I thought it was a really very nice conference, and it was really nice to see so many people in Copenhagen and have the opportunity to discuss sensory and hear a lot about sensory and meet all of you and a lot of other people working with sensory. So, and already Barbara had talked about these national workshops presenting the PhD studies, and there we really encourage all the young scientists to come and also to present their work and have these discussions across the environment in Denmark. So I think it was the last one, yes. So I will stop the presentation now.
Yeah, thank you very much also to you for your overview about how it works and what activities you do. Do we have any questions from the audience for the Danish Society? I have a question, but perhaps it's for all of you a little bit. So I see that the students play a big role in your studies, and of course they're the future of these of everything essentially. But how do you work in the outreach? How do you get the future generation to get involved in your society? Do you announce it at the universities or in the junior positions at work, or do you actually do active calls, or how do you organize a little bit the new entries? In whichever order, whoever wants to jump in.
I can just witness that in France, we are several members from the board active in education, and as I do an introductory course at the beginning of the university year, and this is one of the first things I mentioned, the French Society, the E3S, and the journals and conferences that we have. And my colleagues are also doing the same, I think, with advertising with the students. Especially, we have a very attractive price. I think it's 15 euros for the students. And also the booklets are free for the members. So many students are interested because they can look for their internships, and I think there is usually a great attractiveness of the society for the students. Not only the PhD, I'm talking about master students.
Yeah, master students, yeah. Any other, the Finnish society, how do they do?
Well, I can tell that I'm professor at university, the sensory food science, so it's very easy for me to actually tell our students that how to get involved and for example, invite them to participate to different kind of events. They may even get some points or credits if they participate to the events, but they are doing it very positive way. So they are very motivated and they think that it's very nice. And our sensory division is one of those divisions. So they have actually access for other divisions as well. Like it's the same that all the members of our E3S, they are allowed to be member in any division. So that makes it easy to also get involved in people from different activities. But I think it's pretty easy to invite students and get them involved.
Yeah. The Danish?
In Denmark, I would say it's pretty much the same. In the board, we have representatives from at least 3 of the big universities in Denmark. So we have quite an overview of the different PhD projects going on within Denmark. I think also, Century in Denmark, it's a relatively small family, so I think a lot of our members are aware of the D2S, and they will pull in if they have students working on specific projects. But it's, for instance, for the PhD seminars, we aim to reach a bit broader, and here we have some research going on, because there could be other environments besides the most obvious, which we would like to reach out to. They could, for instance, be diabetes centers or people working more in the health area that we don't necessarily include in our regular meetings.
Yeah, and also in the EDA food science, here the students they have representatives in the board, and also they can join the meeting for, sometimes it's free for them, and normally it's a very low cost for them also to join in there. So we also get in contact with students in other area of the food and can introduce them to the century in that way.
No, that's good. I think we all have the similar approaches. Do we have any other questions for you among each other, between each other? No questions?
I think it was very, very nice to hear that what kind of activities we have. And I think that this idea of having different countries presenting the activities during the different days, I think this is very, very welcome thing for this annual webinar seminar also. So thank you. Also.
Yeah, I think it was great to see the different approaches. I am part of the Dutch one, so I took some notes also of ideas that I can take back. So okay, so it's 3 minutes to 5. Oh, we have a question from Erminia, perhaps a quick one.
Yeah, no, it was just a comment. Maybe because I heard what Mary was saying about this presentation. Maybe using the new tools, having hybrid conferences or having connection next year could be nice to have societies that could share part of their workshop. Some workshop could be co-organized by a couple of national societies, just to, if there are topics in common or something like that.
Yeah, and even in between PhDs, I think it's good if they do some little exchange or something. So perhaps we can discuss that in the E3S meeting, or yeah. Okay, we have some comments. Okay, yeah, very nice indeed to exchange all these ideas. I think it's we all work in our little bubble, so it's good to see the difference and also the similarities in the different societies. Okay, so then with this, I think I'd like to close the session. Thanks a lot for all the speakers of today. It was very clear and very informative. And to all the attendees, thanks for being here. And I think that this is recorded, so perhaps it's shared also among others that could not join this meeting. So then, have a nice meeting. And if we don't talk before this new year, then have also very nice holidays.
You too.
Yeah, you too. You too.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
presentation.
Bye.
Thank you.